Hello. Thank you for having me here today to represent my family and their legacy in the Catskills. My parents, Carl and Mark Kutcher, send their wishes from Florida. They wish that they could have been here today. Oh, closer? Oh, sorry. Okay. I was born into the hotel business in the late 70s, a fourth generation Kutcher at Kutcher's Country Club, along with my brother Zach. For a bit of history, my grandparents, Helen and Milton, inherited the hotel from my grandfather's father, Louis Kutcher. Louis was one of 5 siblings who left Galicia together in 1901, looking for a better life in America. As Jews in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, they were not allowed to own land, and so were denied any sort of economic or social mobility. This became the foundation of their dream for America. Owning land meant everything to them. It helps to explain what led some highly educated people who had maybe never gardened to own and operate a farm in upstate New York. The farm didn't do so well, but their boarding house did, and it grew and grew. By the time my grandparents married, it was an established business, existing in a network of hotels and bungalow colonies that catered to the growing population of Jews looking to leave the city for some fresh air. If there's one thing that stands out to me about my experience as a hotel kid, it was the vibrant community that our hotel created. It was its own universe, magically coming together out of thin air. And it was all about the people. There was my ever-present family, my grandfather who was larger than life, and the staff who were our extended family, and then a whole rotating cast of guests who came regularly each year. Some had the same rooms and same tables in the dining room for decades. Our lives were set to the weekly check-ins and check-outs, with Jewish holidays amping it up to a fever pitch of preparation and planning. Passover was our Super Bowl. Added to the mix were the entertainers and their outsized personalities, all fixtures in our lives. My personal favorites: Alan King, Joan Rivers, Freddie Roman, Ben Vereen, and the Four Tops. And then there were the visiting athletes, some stopping by for the annual Marie Stokes Memorial Basketball game, or Wilt Chamberlain just checking in on his mom and pop, my grandparents. When I was 12, Alex Stewart, the heavyweight, lived and trained at the hotel for months in the lead up to his bout with Mike Tyson, sharing his meals at our family table and discovering an unknown love for Jewish cooking. All of these different people coming together gave the hotel a unique energy and feel. Our hotel's success was based on this unlikely synergy and how involved my family was personally in the hotel's operation. My grandmother's smiling face at the front desk was another human element that defined us. It's what people remember the most about Kutchers. It's not surprising then that a number of former guests still reach out to my parents yearly with their updates and photos of growing families and mitzvahs. Kutcher still has a place in their lives. When I learned of the museum's creation, my first thought was, of course, it's about time. I take great pride in my family's contribution to the area's history and how we fit into a larger story about Judaism in the U.S. and immigration. These days, it's more common to celebrate diversity, honoring our differences and unique identities. The Borscht Belt was a crossroads of outsiders in many ways, and it's fitting to celebrate such a timely theme with a dedicated museum. We should all be proud of this history. A touching story that I was told speaks to the heart of the Catskills for me, and this intersection of people and place. It involves my grandmother and the Four Tops. Long before they were famous, they were just some backup singers at our hotel, performing with Billy Daniels in 1962. They asked my grandmother if they could play golf at the hotel, and she said no problem. 30 years later, they returned as the headlining stars. My grandmother greeted them at the front desk, and they reminded her of this story with tears in their eyes. They had never forgotten. It was such a big deal for them to be allowed on a golf course. Her kindness was something that they had held on to for all of those years. The history of the Borscht Belt is worth recognizing and sharing with the next generation. The area gave joy to so many people and created so many lasting memories. My husband and I hope to foster an appreciation for this special history with our own children, Eva and Brett, and we look forward to the museum playing a part in that process.
Thank you. Look, I know this has to be called out when we see it. The church bells ringing while Jennifer spoke. Frankly, anti-Semitism. You've got to be vigilant. You've got to keep your eyes open for such things. Thank you. Thank you very much. Our next speaker, we have a couple more speakers, and then we'll adjourn for the day. Thank you for hanging in there during this cold, breezy April day, or as I consider this weather, the 11th plague. Your next speaker is in the fourth generation of a family of hoteliers that operated the Ellenville, a massive resort and an economic anchor in Ellenville with more than 400 employees for nearly 100 years. Please welcome to the lectern, David Slutsky. Welcome.